Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And I guess it's now officially off-season, Jeff. I mean, we've been in off-season mode for a bit now, but Super Bowl's over. Patriots won again. How do you feel about that one, first off? Patriots fan?
Yeah, I mean, I was.
Yeah, me too.
Not like I'm a huge fan, but that's who I was going for. I really wanted to see Breeze win it, the Saints win it, but I don't know. I kind of actually fell into the hype, where they're talking about Brady and he's underrated or overrated. I'm sorry, and they're getting old and out of it, and just with all the injuries that Gronk went through, and really how they just revamped and still won even though they weren't looking too good. I don't know why. I finally got over that hump of them being a dynasty. I didn't want to see them win anymore. To can they really finish it out against a team that is younger and, in my opinion, more talented than them, and to do it in the way they did. I know it was kind of a boring game for a lot of people, but I enjoyed it actually.
The whole boring stuff. I was like, whatever. I mean, you had a game that was tied going into the fourth quarter. I mean, who cares what the score was? It's Super Bowl. Not every game's going to be like that Rams-Chiefs game or whatever from, it was 52-40 something in the regular season. That's
right. And the fact that they held them to 3 points has to be, the most phenomenal thing this year.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty bonkers.
And there's really going to be, I think, a couple overreactions from this. One I'll get to in a little bit, but I think Julian Edelman is going to jump too high in drafts next year. Not like too high, but he's going to jump up a good maybe 5 spots just because of that game and how he was in the postseason. Yeah. But that's what he does in the postseason. In the regular season, they're not always looking to do that. So he's a player that I like, but doesn't really do it in the regular season, and it's not going to change. But he could jump up a few more spots because of that. But I'm still going to stay away probably based on where he goes.
Yeah, I like him. He's one of those that you like him better as a football player than, a fantasy football player. He's a very good wide receiver. There's no doubt about it. He really did look phenomenal, especially in that game. But you kind of know what he is going to do. And, let's be honest. I love that Brady won it, but it is one more year of him getting older. You already saw them transitioning a little more to the run game because Sony Michel looked really good. So, They will use him in order to win games, and that's not going to be loading him up, with bulk, especially early on. It's just not the way it usually happens, and if it does, I'd be surprised.
But the other overreaction that is getting me a little worked up is now no one wants to draft Todd Gurley next year? What the heck is this, Jeff? Todd Gurley, I'm seeing these things now. He shouldn't even be in the top 5 of your picks next year. Are people going crazy? Or I don't know. Or am I going crazy? I don't even know what I don't understand.
No. Once again.
What's going on?
Once again, it's just terrible logic.
Oh my God. It's
one game.
Well, 2. Okay.
okay.
And people are like, what's going on? He's in a timeshare now. Oh my God. He's freaking hurt. He was hurt. Obviously.
Yeah, I do not care how many times they say he was ready to go.
He was hurt.
And either he was hurt or that is completely the coach's fault.
He's hurt. He was hurt. He's not quite right. Okay. So this is a guy, let's see. So now this is a player that, okay, you know what? I will give you Saquon and Zeke ahead of him next year, and I'll be okay with that if you want to do that. I don't think he should be further down that. Maybe. I guess there's some people and just maybe want to go McCaffrey. No, I still can't even do it. Gurley's too good. I don't even know. Maybe I just go Saquon. But so in 14 games this year, he ran for 1,251 yards in 14 games. He had 17 touchdowns. He also had 580 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. So this guy had what? 1,800 yards in 21 touchdowns in 14 games. Then he gets hurt, so he misses 2 games. His first game back from injury in the first game of the playoffs, he had 16 carries for 115 yards and a touchdown. That was in the second round of the playoffs. everyone forget? He just did that in the second round of the playoffs. So I think it's pretty clear that after that game, his injury flared up. Had to. That's what happened. His injury flared up after he finally played again. He played well, but his injury flared up. They didn't really want to risk it too much. This is their franchise back. They knew they could use CJ there for a bit, and they didn't use him as much as he was hurt. He was hurt. When he wasn't, he was great. I don't understand this. I don't understand why people are dropping him so far. Oh, it's crazy. I feel like I'm losing my mind.
100%. Even more crazy. I mean, he's still insanely young. Was he 24 right now? He might be 25 next year. Something about that. He is still he's in his prime right now, and he is on a young team that use him correctly, and he's just a dynamite player. That you're overthinking it if you look at this and think that he's in it. First of all, if you think he's in a timeshare, you're just absolutely
well, first about the timeshare
incorrect.
thing. Think about it. Okay, C.J. Anderson was great in those last two regular season games when Gurley was out. He was great, and he was very good in the first game of the playoffs, just as Gurley was. So in these last two games, C.J. Anderson, who is now in a timeshare with Todd Gurley, and you can't get rid of, you have to re-sign C.J. Anderson. He had, in those last two games, he had 23 carries for 66 yards. That's what he did those last two games. And that's, my God, these people are crazy.
Yeah.
It's no time.
Even more so, I mean, Gurley when they actually put him in there, he looked good in the Super Bowl. It was very limited, and he actually did get one of them called back on a holding penalty.
Put that
as
one
well.
back in there, his yards are up a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, I know they keep, and I watched all the post game stuff, and they kept saying that he was fine. And I agree with you. I don't think there's any way he is, because otherwise McVay is an idiot.
And
I mean,
it's probably
it's just
healthy.
not even close.
Healthy, but there's something there where he's hesitant. He was probably hesitant, didn't want to cut too much. Like, his cuts looked a little awkward. He's just coming back from a knee injury. He's had an ACL injury in his past. He's probably it's just something, it wasn't quite right. This is a guy, he's been so good for 2 seasons, and he gets hurt. Obviously he's hurt. There's nothing else about it. C.J. Anderson, of course, okay. C.J. Anderson was great at the end of the year after he barely played all season, and everyone else is worn down after 14 games, and he comes in for the final 2 well rested and looks great. That's crazy, huh? Of course he does. C.J. Anderson can't hold. I mean, I just don't even know these people. It's not okay. Here's oh man, I'm gonna start calling some people out. I feel like here's a quote that somebody was just saying about Gurley. He says, "I don't want Gurley next year. He's a system player, and if Anderson keeps it up, he won't get nearly the touches needed to be an elite back." I know he was hurt in the playoffs, but Anderson produced equally to healthy regular season Gurley.
Get out of here! That is terrible. I don't know who wrote it. I don't need to know.
It's not even who you would.
But
think.
That is an overreaction.
Call out.
God, that is such an overreaction. And C.J. Anderson has, he's been a fine back in other places as well, but he's an older back. He's just not the same level. Gurley is, just athletically speaking, is got to be. I'm trying to think if there's any other running back that can rival him. And really, you would have to go
Saquon
with those
Zeke.
other two that you already talked about.
I mean, and Christian
Saquon
McCaffrey was really good. He's the only other one I'd start to even. I wouldn't pick him over Gurley, but I guess if someone is felt really strong about it, I can't fault him for that. But the other ones people are putting, like Alvin Kamara. I mean, Kamara struggled a bit there at the end, at times. I mean,
well, he did.
He's great, but what's the difference?
At the same time, he was still a top 5 guy. But yeah, and at the same time as well, if you really thought that injury was going to play a part in it, or the fact that he did get a lot of carries, the last few years, he has had an injury in the past. Like, if you really wanted to build that case, then, that is where I'm like, okay, well, there are a few guys you can put in front of him. But that's not even that. Like, when you start going down the road that he is a system back, which is absolutely insane. He would be good no matter what team you're on.
I've ever heard.
And then Yeah, and then on top of that being like some other running back, for the fact that he is as talented or will produce as much as him, will cut into his value, that's crazy talk. Yeah, I mean, I can make up a few ones that I don't agree with myself, but even if you say, hey, he's, they're going to want to guard their golden goose, and I think that they're going to get or back or sign CJ Anderson, make sure he's going to be a long-term guy, to make sure that you spell him, to make sure that he doesn't get these injuries because they need him down the stretch, which they did in the Super Bowl, then, one of those, but the way they're talking right now with that, he's just another running back, that is absolutely insanity.
I feel like I don't get worked up much, but last year, again, it was about Todd Gurley and people not ranking him number one because he couldn't finish number one 2 years in a row. And I think he might have, did he get passed up
and
in PPR only because he missed the last 2 games this year? He was so dominant. Here's a top five
that's
list
a good thing
from a prominent account on Instagram here. I'll just say that. Number 1 was Saquon. Okay. Number 2 is Zeke.
Yeah, okay. I'm fine with that.
I get it. But then number 3 is Christian McCaffrey. Yep. Number 4 is Alvin Kamara. Number 5 is James Conner.
I mean, they're all they're all good running backs. Don't get me wrong, but that's
You're going to
you have
draft
to
James
put Gurley
Conner
up there
over Todd Gurley. Yeah, that's why I beat you in fantasy football leagues.
Especially when you don't have. Yeah, you have no idea what James Conner is going to get into, right? You don't know what that offense is going to look like. You don't know if Antonio Brown is going to be back. James Conner looked great. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, he definitely dipped.
Here's another.
Gurley, when he was in there, did not.
It's going on Instagram right now. It's most of the talk. So this person's saying about Gurley, I wouldn't take him over Barkley, Zeke, Kamara, or McCaffrey. And to be honest, I'm not sure I would take him over David Johnson, James Conner, or even Nick Chubb.
Okay, the last 3 are insanity. The first 5, if you really, really want to make the argument for, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can understand it because McCaffrey, he really did. He came on strong. If he plays that way in the entire year, you'll be fine. But come on, man, with the last 3, and trying to make the point that is just, unless he gets hurt, you're going to be wrong.
They might possibly take David Johnson over him, and then basically said Gurley's production over the past 2 years isn't reflective of his talent, and the Rams aren't getting any better.
Maybe they're not getting any better because they were so freaking good this year.
So his production,
what does that mean?
Amazing production, it wasn't reflective of his talent. So he's a system running back.
I don't understand that argument at all. I really don't. That is the one that actually does upset me. That is a ridiculous statement.
They know they're going to know who I'm talking about. I can't deal with this stuff, man.
System.
It's crazy. It really is. I mean, I'm at a loss for why. I mean, it's crazy.
And really, I mean, so he finishes the number 1 running back
in 14 games.
And we'll just say standard because I know that for sure.
Yeah.
In 14 games, right. I don't understand how you can call that a system running back.
2 years in a row.
And he did it the last 2 years. I mean, heck, he was a good pick the last.
Yeah, 4 years.
He's only been in the league 4 years. First year he bursted on. Second year he kind of fell off.
He was amazing in his first
2
year.
years,
So that was the Jeff Fisher system that he was a great system back in, huh?
Right, exactly. I don't know. I don't understand how you can make that claim. I guess that's where it comes down to. I almost don't even know how to fight it. I would have to look up stats because I just it's so out of the realm of logic.
See, honestly, the only way he's not up there is injury. It's if there's an injury, if we find out that it's a bigger deal, if he has surgery, then you can be hesitant. But even if he has some kind of surgery, if there's some kind of injury, I don't think it's anything major. I guarantee it's going to be some kind of minor procedure he's going to end up having at some point here. And nothing that's should affect anything. And if it does, then obviously he's not going to be up here in the top of the ranks. I get it. But a healthy Todd Gurley, man, how does a healthy Todd Gurley not finish top 3 next year? He's going to.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. Yeah, and you think that a top 5 is a lock. Absolutely. I mean, I don't understand how it could not be. And once again, you say that the Rams aren't going to get any better. First of all, that doesn't make any sense. They're a Super Bowl team, so they're really, really good. But also, Cooper Kupp was hurt. They're going to get him back. Gurley in the playoffs. And honestly, he was banged up at the end of the season.
Jared Goff's had his struggles.
Healthy, they'll get him back.
He's going to. He's still young. He's going to get better. Probably. He's going to get better. He's going to help him out.
Yeah, he's incredibly young. He's only been in the league for 3 years. He made a huge leap this year, and I believe that he will continue to progress. I mean,
he did.
So he looked bad, really, one game, but you went against Belichick, who is the best coach in the NFL, who has 6 titles. This isn't some crazy mystery. He is just a very amazing coach, and he put him in very difficult situations. Pressured him all day. Yeah, yes, he's gonna be fine.
You know what? How about we do? Let's do a little impromptu here. Top 10 running backs. Let's figure this out. I'm gonna post this. on Instagram because I want to see people to get upset with.
Okay. Yeah.
But okay. A couple weeks ago,
You're feeling very combative today, aren't you?
we would have put Todd Gurley number 1 before. Honestly, there is some interest. Maybe we do want Saquon. I might be fine with putting Barkley number 1 right now. That I could do. I think I'd put Saquon number 1. I'd be fine with
Barkley number 1.
I think I go Todd Gurley number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I think he has to be in the top 3. We talked about this. And right now, I still feel better about Gurley than I do Zeke. Because I think that Dallas offense could improve. They don't have to go through him entirely as they did, because he got so many touches last year. And he is that good. He should be in the top 3. Some people would pick him number 1, and I have no issue with it. But me personally, I like Barkley and Gurley a little bit better.
He's just a ridiculous talent. I think he's better than Todd Gurley. I think he can be that kind of player. So that's why I go, Barkley, Gurley, Zeke. That's my top 3. I think it's Christian McCaffrey number 4. I think for me.
Yeah, and once again, I have no issue with that. I really, really like McCaffrey. He took a huge step forward. His, especially if you're talking PPR, it's a no-brainer. But he's so deadly and really all 4 of these guys are so deadly in the passing game as well, and it just completely buoys their numbers to where they really won't fall off. And McCaffrey, adding the dominance as far as rushing goes in the second half of the season is why he jumped up here. If he really figured it out, and the coaches really figured out how to implement him correctly, because he is a little bit of a smaller back, that there's no way that he is going to completely fall off. I really like McCaffrey. I think he'll be good.
Then, so what would you do but number 5 here? I think there's a couple options. I think there's 3 options, maybe 2 real options. Alvin Kamara, Melvin Gordon, and some would say Le'Veon Bell, but I think we kind of hold off because you just don't quite know yet where he's going. But he could be here too.
Yeah, right here I kind of go in between. I mean, I think it is between Kamara and Gordon kind of deal.
Yeah,
I don't think you can really go wrong. I think both of them are supposed to be here. They're kind of the same thing for me. I think I would take Kamara. Except he didn't play as well with Ingram this time around. They threw a lot more. Gordon, if he stays healthy, he is a touchdown machine.
Yeah,
he does. I think they're interchangeable, honestly.
I'd go Kamara Gordon, I think. Because I think Gordon does have a little bit more injury risk.
I mean, I do too. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I love Kamara, obviously. I thought he could have been the MVP this year if he kept his streak going.
So would you put Bell next after that, or would you go with some of the others yet, like like a Nick Chubb, like a James Conner, Dalvin Cook, Joe
honestly,
Mixon?
if Bell is in a halfway decent situation, then I would go Bell.
Higher.
Right.
So Bell,
yeah.
7.
So I feel safe putting Bell here, even though we have no idea what's going to happen to him.
Yep.
We're just in that situation.
So we'd have 3 more spots to fill out our top 10. So it's probably like there's Nick Chubb, there's James Conner, there's Joe Mixon, there's Dalvin Cook, those kind of players.
There's a lot to pick from here too.
At number 8, then ahead of all of them, I think I would go James Conner. I feel better about Conner, I think, than Chubb. Or do you think Dalvin Cook should be way up here? No one's having him this high up. Or Joe Mixon.
When you're here, it truly is because you're not quite sure. All of them do have some sort of area that is pretty gray.
Yep.
Nick Chubb, I like him as long as they give him the touches, which they did at the end of the year. He got exactly what Hyde was doing. He'll be fine. But if they start taking that away because of Mayfield's, starts getting more and more confident.
I like Nick Chubb, but I don't think he's I don't think he's special. I think he's good, right. But I actually don't think Nick Chubb is as good as Dalvin Cook, like talent-wise.
No. Right? Without a doubt. I think Dalvin Cook is definitely a more talented player.
You know what? I think
I agree with you.
I think I'd put James Conner 8 just because of how he was used in that offense, and I think it would continue. But I think I'd go Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook here, 9-10, and leave out Nick Chubb and get some people angry and upset.
Yeah, I really don't have any issue with that. How are you really going to argue against Conner, Mixon, and Dalvin Cook might be the one they're like, he's injury prone, whatever you want to say. That's what they would say. Yeah, right. I think Dalvin Cook is especially at number 10, I think he's worth the risk.
Or do you think you jump David Johnson up here?
Well, there's actually a few names, right? So David Johnson is going to be an interesting one. I don't think Arizona improves enough to put him here. Like, if he went in the top 10, in one of those 8, 9, 10, once again, I don't really have an issue with it. But I personally wouldn't. I think he would be just on the outside because Arizona is still going to be rough. Rosen needs definitely another year at least. We'll find out if Christian Kirk can pick up the slack of the wide receivers as Fitzgerald ages. There's a lot of what ifs there. But I know that I'm kind of jumping around here, but it'll be very interesting. Right now, Damian Williams, he won't be talked about like this. But Damian Williams, if he is the primary back in KC, and they have anywhere near the season they did last year, he's going to be in the top 10 consideration.
Yeah, if he is the guy, if they decide he's their guy, the way they used him, he's going to be up there. He might not get, the yardage, the running yardage might not be up there, but he's going to catch balls. He's going to score touchdowns. He's going to be really good in that offense. Whoever the starting running back is in that offense is going to be really good. I don't care who it is. If they just decide Spencer Ware is their guy, I think Spencer Ware would be really good. It just doesn't make it. Man, their running back is stacked this year.
Right, exactly.
Because even after these, those 12 we had, we have basically 12 guys.
And incredibly, we didn't even talk.
Man, Leonard Fournette.
Right, we didn't even talk about
Aaron
Leonard
Jones,
Fournette. Yeah.
Sony Michel.
And Sony Michel. And then Devontae Freeman is coming back next year.
Then you have the Marlon Mack.
And then we still haven't talked about any of the dark horse players that might come out and really make another jump.
Darius Geis, Derrick Henry, even
those guys.
Man, it's quite stacked. But you know what? Todd Gurley's still up at the top. One of the top 2. He's a top 2 with Saquon. Oh man.
Yeah, without a doubt.
If you listen
I like our top 10.
Yeah. I think ours is good. I was saying, if you listen to a podcast that tells you Todd Gurley's not a top 5 running back, unsubscribe. Just unsubscribe right now.
Really, honestly, if that is the case, it probably won't happen in any of my drafts. And who knows, maybe things will change, like we said, injury. But if that happens, I am going to do everything in my power to get Todd Gurley in the middle of round 1 or end of round 1 in every single league, and I'm going to laugh my butt off.
Exactly what I had made a comment earlier today. I said, it's very funny. We think alike on that one. I said, I can't wait to draft Todd Gurley at 5 or 6 at every draft and laugh at all of you who passed him up. Oh man, I can't believe this stuff. But you know what? It's only February. So.
Yeah, right.
It'll all change. All right. I think that'll do it. I think I've vented.
Yeah. It might just be they might just be venting too. It might just be like you watch one game and you're so angry they lost that you're oversimplifying the situation. I don't know. But yeah, I think that it's crazy. Todd Gurley is still the man. No doubt about it.
That'll do it for this week. We'll be back next week. See you guys then.